Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson and this is my Sunday paper review. A little bit later than normal today, but better late than never in it. I've also got some Snapchat stuff, so if you've sent me a question on Snapchat, I will be getting to that in a sec. But first, let's get straight into it. Now, the big one is all about Paul Pogba. This is in the Mail, and they're saying that Pogba's helping France to believe again. And this is the guy that can inspire France to victory in the Euros tonight. And I have to agree, this is by Rob Draper. There's also a little section here in the bottom saying that Pogba's going to cost United 106 million. Now, this transfer, I'm reluctant to get too excited about it, but it does seem to be edging, inch by inch, ever closer, doesn't it? Not really seeing any conflicting reports. That's usually when you know something's bullshit, when you see conflicting reports. But I'm not seeing the conflicting reports. The reports are United are going to have to pay a shitload of money, and his agent, who's clearly been in contact with us for most of the summer, sorting out Mkhitaryan, sorting out Zlatan Ibrahimovic, wants us to have him, and he's agreed with him. Oh, I've got the MMA backdrop up just because I haven't changed it. Filmed the MMA show yesterday, and I just haven't had a chance to switch it round to the Full-Time Devils one, so that's why you got that background. Deal with it. It just seems to be inching closer and closer and closer and closer every time, doesn't it? And no one's coming out and saying Pogba doesn't want to go at United. There's reports coming out saying he would prefer to go to Madrid, but they're not saying that he's going to have to be dragged kicking and screaming to come to United. He's come out himself months ago and said that he misses Manchester and stuff like that. That might be thinly veiled, that might be lip service, that could be anything, couldn't it? But the thing is, he's come out and he's said those things. I think he's got a lot of friends in the squad. Jesse Lingard, for one, is a player that came up through the academy with him. So it'd be interesting to see. He's probably got friends there. It looks like, if you looked at the Sky Sports images earlier when you saw him warming up, it looks like he's training with the other lads in a French squad that are United players and ex-United players. Marshall, Schneidlin, Evra. So hopefully they're all getting around him and they're all going to be like, yeah. Hopefully that means something and not just reading too much into it. It does appear to be like the wheels are in motion. There's one big thing, and it is a big thing as well, because Juventus can just say, no, I'm not selling. But the world record fee that's on offer, I think it's going to twist anybody's arm. So I'm edging towards 6.5, 7 out of 10 for this now, which I did not see not even 3-4 weeks ago. What was the other thing that I wanted to talk about on here? Also, Wales. Wales have bagged a decent Euros. Did extremely well. Got to the semi-final. Surpassed everybody's expectation. And then had an open-top bus parade for not winning anything. Come on. Right, come on. Come on. I know they're a small nation, and I know that everyone's proud of them and this, that and the other, but let's have some perspective here. Their players are on par with England's players. Let's face it, for the most part. Wage for wage, probably on a little bit less, I imagine, because of some of the clubs that they're at. But the Premier League players for most of it, which is what all England are. So why are we expecting anything less than what England achieve? It's because England players are hyped up. Now maybe some of these Wales players will get hyped up. Obviously Gareth Bale's hyped up, and justifiably so. But an open-top bus parade for not winning fuck all. Can you not just come home and be like, yeah, we did well, maybe do a couple of talk shows, go on a couple of Sky Sports shows and this, that, and the other, and say, yeah, let's use this as a platform to maybe achieve something and go and win something, or maybe to invest in all this goodwill now into the grassroots and bring some more Welsh players through that we can be proud of, that can go on and win some shit. Don't celebrate mediocrity by having an open-top bus parade for not winning anything. It's ridiculous. I don't care how small your nation is. The fact that you didn't get stuffed like you thought you was going to get stuffed doesn't mean you have an open-top bus parade, does it? You didn't win. What's that one? Back page of the Mail. That's the sports section. Back page of the Mail. Talking about Gus Hiddink for the England job. I like that appointment, although it does seem to be, a couple of the rumours that you're hearing is that they want an Englishman. It also mentions in this that Jurgen Klinsmann and Allardyce are in the frame as well. Now, Allardyce to me he's got some tactical nous about him, but it is more along the quite direct sort of tactical nous, isn't it? It's not really attractive football. It's not really nice fast counter-attacking football. It is kind of route one, lump it up to somebody, physicality. And I don't want to see the England national team playing that, even if it was make them marginally more successful than they are now. Because I think we've got some really good technical footballers, and I'd like to see us develop that as a national identity rather than the kick chase, almost rugby union-esque tactics that have served England well in the past. It's bullshit. I don't want to see that. Jurgen Klinsmann being in the frame's interesting. I think he's done decent with pretty mediocre USA team. Sam Allardyce just strikes me as a proper... Oh, what's that film called? About the England manager. Can't remember. You know the one. Tell me in the comments. Gus Hiddink, I think, would be a really good appointment. Obviously, he's worked in the Premier League. He's worked with national teams in the past. I think that's the sort of man that you get in to do this job. A man that's actually won some stuff. And if you look at the people who are around as managers, Klinsmann and Allardyce not really won a lot. Or anything, I think, actually. I'm not sure what Klinsmann's done prior to this, in all honesty, actually. But I'm not sure he's won much. Hiddink surely is head and shoulders above that. So I'd be happy with Hiddink. That's the mail done. Blasting through this today. He wasn't a great deal in. There's a big piece here talking about, and this is my other newspaper. This is the Sun. We get it because it's free, not because it's good. In the Sun, talking about the mileage that some of the teams have got to do in pre-season. Tottenham have got to do 22,000 miles in pre-season. I can't think that's not going to affect the players. Watford are doing 151 miles. That's actually a really good effort to only do 151 miles. I reckon I do more than 151 miles in a week, let alone covering pre-season. Also mentions in here, Jesse Lingard's on the lookout for a new agent, and that Rio Ferdinand's brand new company might be in the hunt for his signature. Didn't know Rio Ferdinand had his own sports representation agency. Do think that's kind of interesting though. And I do think Rio Ferdinand would be a great person if he was a professional athlete to look after your stuff. Quite business savvy, also very well respected in the game, I think, as well. So that's interesting to see where Jesse ends up, and also how his career pans out this season. I think he's the sort of player that Mourinho's going to like. He's not probably going to be a starter. He'll be behind Mkhitaryan. He's going to be behind Marshall on the left. But he's a grafter, he's an honest player, and he's the sort of guy that you want in as a squad filler. You don't want a prima donna to come in who's going to sulk and be like, why have I not been in the team for 3 weeks? You want a guy that's just going to be like, you're in the team today, and he's going to go, okay, boss, and he's going to do his best, and then that's that. The back page says, Jose to Axe, 8 stars. And you're like, wow, that's a lot from considering a really small squad. Injury-ravaged squad that we've got. We've added 2 players. And he wants to get rid of 8. That doesn't add up because we had a tiny squad last year and we had to go dipping into the youth team, which turned out in our favour a little bit, but it also was not ideal at times. We could have probably done a lot better in the league had we not had to rely on youth as much, despite some of the good things that happened because of that. So it says 8 stars. So then I turn to page 66, as it tells me to, and I count 7. There's not 8 stars here. It says Rojo, Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger, Adnan Januzaj, Memphis, Daley Blind, Juan Mata. 5 and 2 was 7 when I went to school. That's all it says. So I have no idea who the 8th person is. If it's a mystery one, just 8. Deal with it. Now this is another interesting one. This is from Pep's old fella. Pep won't sleep until City win the league. Now, 10 months without sleep is going to really send this guy's head west, isn't it? What sort of ridiculous headline is that? He's not going to sleep until he win the league. Well, even if they win the league, it's not going to be until April at the earliest, is it? What utter nonsense is this? He'll give 100%. Should think so as the most best paid manager in the country. What? That's the minimum expectation that people try their hardest at stuff. Why is people giving 100% seen as like, he's going to give 100%? It also goes on to talk about Bajiristan's signings, which have been underwhelming. It says the 2 hits that they've got has been Fernandinho and, yeah, I suppose so, Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah, we'll give him that one. Good signing. And then talks about the misses. Negredo, Jovetic, Sterling, Mangala, Otamendi, Boney. I think the jury's out on Otamendi. I think he could go either way. Fernando, Delph, Caballero, Demichelis, Navas, Patrick Roberts. That's a lot of misses. That's a lot of wastage. And I think you're going to have more similar with whoever Guardiola looks to bring in even. There's a little bit of a section up here in the corner, and I take my hat off to messed that up. To Stilian Petrov. Good to see you back on a football pitch, mate. Massive well done for overcoming cunt of a disease in leukemia. Did not expect him to be playing football again. I thought retire. You know, even if he lives, he's probably not going to get to the same level as being an athlete again. Just, you know, maybe going to coaching or punditry or something like that. But it looks like he's getting back to full fitness, and he's pulled on a shirt for Aston Villa. So massive well done to Stilian Petrov and to Aston Villa for giving him another chance. That's great to see, and not the sort of thing that you want to see like when I forget the guy's name. There's a Newcastle player got cancer, wasn't there, and he got sacked. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. So that's the newspaper review for today. Short and sweet. Looking forward to the game. I say short and sweet, just on 11 minutes. Short and sweet. Looking forward to Portugal and France today. But let's get into some of your questions on the old Snappo Chatto. So I've figured out a way to do it now where I can get them on my iPad. So we'll do that. We'll get them on the iPad and throw them out. Oh, there's absolutely loads. Let's start at the bottom. Who will win the Lesnar or Hunt fight? Well, that was obviously one designed for last night. Someone asking me about shouting for beer while I was on United Unzipped. I wanted a beer, and no one was listening to me. There was three lads just sat there looking at me. And then when he threw it, it was warm. Hopefully we'll get a good one in a sec. Another one about last night's UFC. In fact, I'll get into last night's UFC in a second. What do you think Manchester United's target should be under Mourinho in the next few years? I think if you get Pogba, I think you've got to look at us challenging for the league. Whether or not you win it in that first season, don't know. As long as there's like a real challenge. You know what a challenge feels like, don't you? When you feel like you can't say Arsenal challenged for it this year, can you? They totally bottled it and then they snuck into second. That's not challenging. Challenging is being in a run-in. Arguably, Spurs challenged and ended up finishing third. I'd rather do that than what Arsenal did, in all honesty, where you end up finishing second, but he was never really in the fight. So that was Dara's 2002. Lucas Kirby, do you think Nick Powell should have been given more of a chance to prove himself at United? No. I think he looked very good when he came in a couple of the first team games that Hay had got wonderful long-range strike on him, but it was a time where he said he didn't want to play football. That's a mental problem. He needs to be talking to psychiatrists and medical professionals and being away from football, because you can't really... I can't imagine what it's like to be a Manchester United player, the pressure that must be under you for that. If he's in the sort of mind frame where he doesn't know if he wants to play football, well, do you know what? Make the decision for you, because you have to want it so bad, because the pressure and everything is... You've got to want to do this with all of your being, otherwise what is the point? You can't half-ass being a top athlete, and you're dealing with the 1% of the 1% of the 1% when you're talking about Manchester United and even any Premier League footballer. Any Premier League footballer, whether they're shit or not, would have been the best player that you or anyone would have ever known. That's how good they are, right? Like, you don't even know someone who knows someone who's better than them. That's how good they are. So to say that you're just like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, well, sling it. This is from Keith. Can't see the rest of the name. Keith M. 9854. Are you ever going to do a guest appearance on a Front Free podcast? Yeah, I will when you ask me. Jamie Hunt 001. Mata in a swap deal plus cash for Pogba, bullshit or not? Of course it's bullshit. When do swap deals ever really come off? Now, and I know that I'm setting myself up for one, because our manager and our new star striker was involved in a swap deal for Etu at Inter Milan. But, you know, let's face it, they're a massive rarity, aren't they? And I think newspapers write them because they're like keyword bingo, aren't they? They can go, instead of just linking one name to this, we can put two names in, and that's going to show up better in the search engines. Throw them in the mixer. From Tom, who do I think United should sign if they fail in signing Paul Pogba? I would go for Tony Cruz. Don't think you'd be successful in getting him, but I would like to know that they had a go at signing him, because I think he's probably like just this much better than Pogba. He's different, probably like just a little bit better. Totally different style of footballer, but I would love him. And a dream midfield. I mean, if you could have the pair of them, oh my god. Then that would be dreaming. Then that would be a £200 million midfield. Pay it. Sadiqul Islam. Why do I think everyone hates me? Because I swear a lot. And I say shit that upsets people, I think. And if you're talking about TFR, I think they just hate United fans. I got called biased for being a United fan in a United and City debate. Don't know what that's about. Do I think reports of Real Madrid backing out of the chase for Pogba are true? Yes, I think they probably are. This is from Farman. Yeah, I think they probably are. Everyone seems to be saying the same sort of thing. Madrid don't want to pay the fee. Now, it might not necessarily be the transfer fee. It might be the agent's fee. And typically, this is what Manchester United under Fergie and Gill didn't want to pay. And that's why we've now become better friends with George Mendes and Mino Raiola and the type of super agent that does these sort of deals. United in the past wouldn't pay him. That's why we never got that sort of player. United under Woodward and the Glazers now, where I admit it, we are getting desperate, but we're willing to pay the agent's fee. Supposedly, Raiola's getting 20 to 25 million euros, so he's going to work his nuts off to try and make this deal happen, isn't he? Hassan Patel. Thoughts on Memphis? Didn't think he was played through a run of games when he needed to be. Like, Rooney got played through a run of games when he wasn't doing very well, and he just got persisted with. Now, captain's privileges, all that sort of stuff. But Memphis would do one mistake and get dragged out, and I think he's a confidence player, and I think he's the sort of player that you need to put an arm around and go, listen, don't worry about it. Just go and play your game. And there was a couple of occasions where it looked like he had that sort of confidence, and he was magic. But there was a couple of games where he looked like, he'd made a mistake in the previous game, got hooked off, and he was nervous. And I don't think you can allow that sort of player to play nervous. You need to let that player just have a cuddle, and I think he's going to be magic under Mourinho. I hope he is as well, because he's got phenomenal talent, just needs to be more consistent. I think the way you play as well, I think when he's receiving the ball flat with his back to goal, he's a muscly lad, he's not the fastest off the block, he's not light, he's probably a good 14 and a half stone. That's a lot to move fast. You can move quickly and he can get going, but getting off the mark is not the easiest, and if you've stood still, it's even harder then to try and get past the defender, and a defence is set when you're receiving the ball, it's even harder. So if a team's playing on the counter-attack and a ball's played in front of him that he can run onto, I think you're looking at a different Memphis, and I'm hoping that's what we're going to get. Adam Peters. Do you think Wilshere will start/play against Wigan? Probably have some sort of involvement, I reckon, because if you think about all the players that we've got that have been at the Euros or at the Copa America, and there's only a few at the Copa America, I know, but there's not a lot of players left in the squad. So I think the lads that are left in the squad are probably going to get games. Aaron99. What are my thoughts on the rumoured sale of both Varela and Blackett? That's the top picture. Blackett I can completely understand. That looked like you had some footy stuff under there. Let's have a look. Some nice FA medals, probably FA County Cup, I reckon, in the corner. Nice. I reckon it's probably a mistake to let Varela go when we're in a thin squad. I like Varela, and I like him going forward, and I like him defensively as well. People are like, oh, he can't defend. He got tated by Coutinho. Well, guess what? Coutinho can do that to most defenders. People need to stop focusing on that one thing and think about the rest of him, the overall play that Varela brings, because he's a top player. What chance do you give Pogba to United after Real Madrid pulled out of the race? This is from Bishal. As I said before, I'm creeping up towards a 7 at the moment. Do you think Fosu Mensah and Pogba, if we sign him, could be a long-term and good partnership in midfield? This is from Ismalik. Yeah, I'd love to see Fosu Mensah played as the destroyer and just giving nice easy balls over to Pogba. And can you imagine Pogba, Cruz and Timothy Fosu Mensah? He needs a couple of years yet, and he's got to be bedded in. If he can get 50 games over the next 2 years, then I think he's probably going to develop into a world-class footballer. But he's got to get games. He just has to get games. That's the only way you improve. That's the only way you prove how good you are, by getting games. First team games, because the under-21 league is shit. Loads more to get through. What What do I make of Madrid pulling out the race for financial reasons? They've paid stupid amounts for players in the past. I think it's down to that. Raiola wants 20-25 million to make it happen. I reckon that's it. They probably paid a player fee, probably paid the guy's wages, but pay 20 million to you, sling it, and Woodward's like, I'll pay it. I'm not asked, in all honesty, because we paid $1 billion to the banks. What do I expect the under-18s to do next season? I would love to say that they're going to win the league. I would love to say that they're going to win the FA Youth Cup, but the truth is you don't know at the moment. We don't even know who's managing them. There's a lot of signings that have come in. Burkhart, Chong, O'Connor, some real gems from around the world, and there's also been a couple of lads promoted from the under-16s as well who look pretty tasty as well. So I can't wait to get down and go and see them. They've got a couple of friendlies, I think, towards the back end of this month. As soon as I've seen them, I'll give you some stuff on them. I've had a couple of people saying to me, tell me about Chong. I'm not going to do a video on someone that I've not seen with my own eyes. That's all I'll say to you. I'm not going to do a video on somebody that I have not seen with my own eyes, because it's not fair. You guys can go and watch a YouTube video just as easy as I can. You're not going to get anything extra. I think when you watch somebody live with your own eyes, the camera follows the ball, doesn't it, in matches, but your eyes can often focus on what one lad's doing, and that's what I like to do a lot. Look at what one lad's positioning is. Where is he when the team's got the ball? Where is he when the opposition have got the ball? What's he doing? How's he talking? And all that sort of stuff, and that's what I like to see. So let me get my eyes on him first properly, see him for a couple of games, then I'll do a video on Tahith Chong and the top players to watch out for this season. If we sign Paul Pogba, does this make us favourites for the title at the moment? No, because I don't know who the hell can be favourites. This league's just going to be absolute chaos. I would expect us to be in the mixer with a couple of other teams. Who they are, it's going to depend on the business that everybody else does towards the end of the season, I think. It's Lord Issa. What do I make of the Sky sources saying Varella's surplus replacements? Already covered that, sorry mate. Another Pogba one. What do I think of Derek Langley leaving the club? Brought through a lot of good players. Interesting to see how the new youth setup goes. Looks promising though. This is from Bryn 113. Langley was leaving anyway. He was retiring, I think. And I think it's being spun as he's left because of X or Y. Like Mourinho's coming in and stuff like that. I think he was retiring, so I can't really get too upset about it. It's just one of them, isn't it? People have to move on. With the Pogba signing looking imminent, who do you think Mourinho should sign next and why? I think we still need experience in the back line, and apart from that, I'd be pretty happy going in as we are. Really would. And I don't really feel like that after most windows, and this is being greedy as well. What is my favourite movie, and do I like the Game of Thrones? From Muhammad. My favourite film? Gladiator, probably. Possibly 300. Probably Gladiator. I mean, it's a 3-hour film, but I could watch it again and again and again, and I don't even know how many times I've seen it. I'll still watch it if it comes on. I'm sure there's a second part to that. Can't see it now. It's gone. Daily Sam. I want reasons why you think Pogba is worth 100 million. Because that's what they want, and that's what we're prepared to pay. So he's worth it. Simple as that, mate, really. They're only worth it if someone's prepared to pay it. Nebe Belachu. Have I ever played in a football team? If not, where would I line myself up and what are my strengths? I have played in football teams. I've played at Sunday League, and I actually played at a decent standard, although I was mostly on the bench. I played up front or on the left because I'm left-footed. Although now, if I was playing now, I think probably a centre-half because I'm massive, clearly, and I can't do a lot of running. But I can cause absolute havoc when someone comes near me. But I played rugby all the way through being a teen and everything like that, so I didn't really play football to a high level when I was at school or anything like that, because rugby was my focus, and rugby ended up being professional and playing for my country. So maybe if I'd have put it into football, who knows, but I didn't. I played rugby. Davey Elto, thoughts on Blackett and Varela? Sorry mate, already covered that one. Jack Melville, do I think Pogba's almost certain? It's getting there, isn't it, mate? Reese, it's another one about Varela and Blackett. Another one about Varela and Blackett. Do you think United will win the Champions League in the next 5? If not, when? Oh, mate, that's impossible to say, isn't it? I think we're building a very good squad that can be competitive, and that's all you can ask for. Winning the Champions League is so hard that even saying you've got to win the Champions League like Abramovich has done to all of his managers is nuts. You need a lot of luck, and you need an exceptional side to do it. Jordan Hench 07. Do I think Lesnar should have another run at the UFC belt, and if United get Pogba is in a straight yes or no, we'll win the league? I think we can. Will we? Don't know. Do I think Lesnar should have another run at the UFC belt? I would love him to. He looked great last night, didn't he? Didn't expect that. His takedowns were so unstoppable. I thought Mark Hunt was going to land more than he did. He landed a few, and Brock's eye at the moment looks a right mess. But he's got this massive contract with WWE, hasn't he? I mean, his striking's still not up to scratch, but it's the threat of the takedown against someone who's just a pure striker like Mark Hunt, which is an issue for him. If he comes up against someone that's more well-rounded like Cain Velasquez, who's not bothered about being taken down, and actually he's probably, I don't know if he's better, but he's got a better MMA IQ than just pure wrestling than Brock. I mean, Brock is just the ultimate ground and pound wrestler. He drags you to the mat and then he just starts hitting you with ridiculously powerful shots. There's not a lot of skill to that. There's a lot of skill to his takedowns, but it's not a lot of skill to just using your mass and staying on top of someone. And it's incredibly difficult for the guy on the bottom to get up from that, as you saw with Mark Hunt last night. I would love Brock to see him in the mix, though. Can he be the champion? Yeah, I think he'd probably get to the belt, but keeping it, no one keeps it, really. Everybody's got a weakness. You'll come up against the weakness. I think if Brock took Verdum down, he's getting choked out. If he tries to stand with Kane, he's getting knocked out. If he tries to take Kane down, Kane might be able to take his back and choke him out. I mean, it's intriguing. If he is able to take someone down like Mark Hunt, then you got a problem, haven't you? Maybe if he can be able to take Overeem down, now he's not got diverticulitis. That might be an interesting fight. That might be the fight to make, actually, if it's possible. Oh my God, there's loads left still.
Even if we don't have plans for him moving forward, or would you just sell him and get some money?
Do I think Daley Blind is a good system player if we can keep him on the bench, or would you just sell him and get some money? I would definitely keep him around because he's a guy that can fill in multiple positions, and that is a skill in itself. Alex Wild 14. What do we do with Cameron Borthwick-Jackson? He's good enough, but we have Shaw, who's only a year older. Don't want to waste Cameron Borthwick-Jackson, but Shaw could be the best fullback in the world. I agree. This is a nightmare situation for both of them two and all of the centre-halves that we've got coming through at the moment. Someone needs to be loaned out, don't they? Because, like I said before, the under-21 league is shit. That's why I'm in favour of B teams for big clubs, because I think that gives them real competitive football. And I think the England national team in turn benefits. Can you imagine if Borthwick-Jackson, Roshan Williams, Tuanzebe, and even Riley managed to get like championship level as a team together next year? How good they would be in 2-3 years. They'd be phenomenal, and they'd probably end up being England's back four. So I see arguments against it, but I also see massive arguments to. United fans don't really give a shit about the England national team, but all these smaller clubs do. But they're only asked about their own club at the moment and not what it could do for the national team. I think there needs to be some leeway from Premier League teams so you don't just trample all over the traditions of the lower league teams. But I think the lower league teams also have to think, right, well, we want the national team to be successful. This is probably the way to do it. And people can say, oh yeah, well maybe Premier League teams shouldn't just hoard footballers at 18, 19. Well, they're gonna, so because they can afford it. Kian Buckley, what do I think of Real pulling out the race with Pogba? Covered. Sorry, mate. Do I think Jose will take the Europa League seriously, or would he use it to play youth? I don't know, in all honesty. And I don't know where the pressure comes from the club to do well in there or not. It's a fucking nightmare, and I can't find any reasons why, but statistically it proves that teams that go further in the Europa League typically perform worse in the league. So I'm torn. Do I want to see us progress in the Europa League, or do I want to see us really go for a title? I would rather us completely bin the Europa off, in all honesty, and just go for the title. It means nothing to me. Now that Real Madrid have pulled out of the blah, it's Pogba, sorry. Do you think United should try and sign another striker? Morata or Griezmann? Man, I would love it if we could get Griezmann, but I think you're being a bit greedy. You're looking at too many world-class players to fit in too few slots, and then you end up with a problem like Real Madrid. Ideally, you want like a really good 11, 3 or 4 players who are on the fringe of getting into that 11, or who think that they're, personally think that they're better than the guy that's in that position at the moment, and then you need a couple of players who just know that they're squad players and aren't going to kick up a fuss. Because if you've got 18 players who all think that they're in for a shout at a Ballon d'Or or they should be the best player in their position. When they're not picked, they're going to be sulky in a dressing room, and it's just a bad atmosphere all around, and it's not good and all the rest of it. So that was the last one anyway, so thank you to everybody that sent in a question. I hope you got yours answered. If you didn't, it was because someone else had already asked it and you got it answered anyway, essentially, didn't you? Thank you to everyone that's watched. Bang anything you like in the comments. Let's get some discussion going as usual. I'll answer all these tomorrow. Like, subscribe and comment. We smashed through the 16k barrier. Did 2k in a week last week. Absolutely mental. Love it. Loads coming out this week. I am starting the vlog again from tomorrow, but it'll be released on Monday, so keep an eye out for that. I'm going to be filming all week, and I'll see you soon. Laters.